So 2023 is coming to a close, and it has been an absolute wild year for Destiny. There's been a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And as always, I like to do recap videos, kind of serve as a time capsule looking forward into the future, but also serve as a kind of source to look back and see what happened in this year in Destiny, just as a reminder in the future. I'm going to be doing two videos. Today, I'm going to be looking at my 7 favorite things that happened in Destiny in 2023. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to be looking at my 7 worst or least favorite things that happened in Destiny this year. And I'm really looking forward to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. So in this video, once again, we're looking at the best things. Let me know what you enjoyed about Destiny this year. I have 7 things, like I mentioned, and this is going to be just kind of a general discussion video. So the first thing I really enjoyed, and I really just want to put so much emphasis on this, is we have had better seasonal activities than any other year in Destiny, in my opinion, in terms of playability, replayability, my genuine interest and excitement going through these activities multiple times. From a gameplay perspective, Battlegrounds from Season of Defiance were like whatever, but then you hit deep dives, which were some of the most unique things that we had ever gotten up to that point. Then you got in Season of the Witch the combination of Savathûn's Spire and Altars of Summoning, which Altars of Summoning especially unbelievably unique with like the card system and stuff. And then Coils took the roguelike aspects of Deep Dive and really expanded on that to make what I think is the best seasonal activity we have ever gotten in terms of a gameplay perspective. Now, there are arguments to be had about the quality of loot from these sorts of seasonal activities. I think that's more of a discussion for tomorrow's video, which I'll have linked down below, by the way, once that comes out. But in terms of gameplay and uniqueness and creativity, I just don't think you can touch Deep Dive's Altars of Summoning and Coil. I just think it has been an unbelievable year for seasonal activities. It's unfortunate that the game is kind of in the state it is, because I think if these activities came out in any other year, people would be drooling over them. We are so far away from the days where our seasonal activities were glorified public events. I think they're super interesting. Lots of dynamic difficulty things, lots of, secrets and puzzles and that sort of stuff. And I just think it's been an unbelievable year for seasonal activities. So I definitely wanted to shout those out on this list. My second thing is going to be the crafting, and more so, it's going to be Bungie's response to the crafting. They really leaned into it and just were like, go have fun. And we got an emblem memorializing that, time period in Destiny. It was a crazy, almost week-long period, I think it was about a week. It was just wild. Crucible, PvE, Nightfalls, raids. It was some of the most fun I've had in Destiny in a long time. It wasn't supposed to happen. It was a bug, but the fact that Bungie responded to it the way that they did was awesome. And it was just so much fun. And I think that's the sort of thing in a live service game you can't necessarily have control over, but the way they responded to it is not how I think previous Bungie would have, like a year ago. I don't think they would have done the same thing. And it was just a really fun, unique time in the history of Destiny. Number 3 is going to be Joe Blackburn. And it's not been a great year with a lot of our communication with devs. And I'm going to talk about, for instance, the state of the game tomorrow and the layoffs and that sort of stuff in tomorrow's video. But I did want to go ahead and just point out, Joe Blackburn and the community team in general, especially when it existed, to a larger extent. Again, we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but Joe Blackburn specifically, really taking it upon himself to start streaming and, going on streams or going on videos or, opening up on Twitter. It's only been a couple of times up to this point, and it only started in August. So hopefully this continues, but it has been the most clear, concise interactions we've had with Bungie in a very long time. It's very nice to have that sort of communication pathway open with the game director, and it just genuinely seems like, from all accounts, from former employees, current employees, from any community interactions with him, it just seems like Joe is a genuinely really awesome dude. And it's great that he feels comfortable enough to open up about the game and what's going to happen and what is happening like this. And I just want to throw that out there. Like, I really appreciate it. Seems like the community really appreciates it, and I really want to see more of that communication pathway going forward, because it's very nice, and I don't think anything has hurt Destiny as much as when the whole development team just shuts down. And I know that there are legitimate reasons for that, but it still really sucks. I think that communication is absolutely key for these relationships and for getting kind of that hype around a live service game. And so it's been really nice. Number 4 slot is going to be Avalon. Now, we've had a couple of secrets, like secret exotic missions or exotic missions, whatever you want to say this year. Starcrossed was fine. We're going to talk about Whetstone in the next point. But Avalon, I think, really stood out for me as being one of the best secret missions ever. It was completely unannounced. But the scale of Avalon was ridiculous. You know, it had a pretty unique look to it. We haven't done much in the Vex network. You know, I came out in Defiance with Lightfall, where we did a little bit more in the Vex network, but like previous to that, we had a couple, like a seasonal activity here, maybe like a mission here or there. Still, up to this point, relatively unexplored space. The conclusion of Ashermir's story and all of that lore was really awesome. The callbacks to the Pyramidian Strike and all of that, really fantastic. I really like this activity. I like all the secrets. Vexcalibur, while I'm not a big glaive guy, is pretty interesting. And the mechanics were, you know, especially for a secret mission, pretty interesting and a lot more in depth. I mean, they're not like the most complicated things in the world, right? But it was Avalon is much closer to a dungeon. Like, if you give Avalon a couple of armor sets and a couple of weapons, it's a dungeon, you know? It is that complex of an activity compared to every other exotic mission that I can think of. I thought that was really cool. Definitely one of my high points of this year, so I wanted to shout it out on this list. The next point I want to talk about is like the reemergence of puzzles. So Avalon was kind of like that. It was unannounced, but I think it deserved its own point. But the Embaru engine was 3 levels of puzzles, and then a huge 4th puzzle, which was really fun to solve. The Festival of the Lost Memento, much smaller puzzle, but still like pretty fun little community scavenger hunt. Whetstone, which was the exotic mission inside of Deep Dives. Pretty secret. No one really knew much about it. A return more to those kind of time trial-y secret missions that you just had to discover on your own. And then we have puzzles in Starcross that we're working on now. While I would love to see more of these community-wide Niobe Labs or Corridors of Time puzzles, I think that these are obviously better than nothing, and it has been very nice to see a returning focus on those. And with things like the Marathon ARG coming out this year, I would hope that we see more of that sort of thing for Destiny 2. It is such a huge way to get the community involved and generate a lot of hype. It's essentially free marketing for these sorts of things, and they are genuinely some of my favorite aspects of the games. I also want to say that I really enjoyed these small changes to the red border puzzles. I was really afraid that they were going to do the Vow of the Disciple or King's Fall, like 9 symbols, find 3 of them things, and they really made like the Crota's End and the Root of Nightmare puzzles unique in their own way, and the Catalyst puzzles for Necrochasm and for Buried Bloodlines I thought were pretty fun as well. So Bungie seems to be leaning more into that kind of secret community puzzle aspect a little bit more. I would love to see them keep going that direction and going bigger and bigger and bigger personally. But compared to last year, especially, like last year, there was essentially no puzzles. So it's nice to see a return to that, and I hope we keep going down that pathway. In the second to last spot, number 6, I just want to call it the dungeons. I think Ghosts of the Deep and Warlord's Ruin are 2 of the most aesthetically beautiful experiences that we've had in Destiny. I love how for dungeons, they're taking just so much creative liberty and just saying like, what would we never do? And then doing that, like an underwater dungeon, that is awesome. A medieval castle fighting a taken meatball dragon thing, that's awesome. Like, I think they did really great with those kind of self-contained stories of those dungeons. The lore is always really awesome, the collectibles, and you know, just everything surrounding those experiences are really, really good. Dungeons are probably the most consistently amazing pieces of content in Destiny at this point. Every dungeon is just a freaking banger, and I really wanted to call those out. While the loot could be better, once again, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. I think the aesthetic is always really freaking amazing for these things, and I'm just a big fan of dungeons. And then the first thing on this list, like the thing that I enjoyed the best this year, is going to be Crota's End. Crota's End, everyone was memeing on it. No one wanted it back. Everyone wanted Wrath of the Machine. And don't get me wrong, I still want Wrath of the Machine. I really hope we get it next year. I'm not really sure what the state of that is, but fingers crossed. But I mean, come on. The Raid and Dungeon team absolutely destroyed community expectations with Crota's End. Everyone thought it was going to be a meme. Day one kicked so much ass. It is probably my favorite day one experience ever in terms of overall difficulty. I thought it was perfect. Right in that middle ground where not too many people were able to complete it, but a lot of people were able to complete it. You know, it was just difficult, you know, without being gatekeepy or anything. Like, you genuinely had to have a good team and learn the strategies and try and focus. And because you had to complete it twice, it took a long time. I just thought, for what I'm looking for from a day one experience, I thought it was genuinely a lot of fun. The day one emblem is really cool. I love that they brought back the Age of Triumph armor. I wish they would go back and do that for King's Fall and Vault of Glass. Not sure why the decisions were made the way they were. Necrochasm, great addition to Destiny 2. Absolutely amazing weapon. I have a lot of fun with it, especially in Crucible. A lot of the other weapons are fun. You know, they have their places. I just think like the reworked encounters are almost perfect. My only gripe is like waiting for the chalice, but you know, everything else, this is a great raid to speedrun, to low man, to just do as a 6-man group for a chill run. I really, really enjoy almost everything they did with Crota's End. I think it is the best example of a reprise raid that they've done. Completely blows Vault of Glass out of the water, and I think it was done better than King's Fall as well. Even though King's Fall, the reprised version, was really good, the Crota's End reprise is just, it took a strike that everyone memed on, Crota's End in Destiny 1, and just, it made it a raid, which is what I wanted. Personally. So yeah, I think this year, while not everything has been good, there's been a lot of high points for sure, and I hope they keep building on these and expanding on these with the you know, conclusion of the Light and Dark saga with Final Shape and with the episodic series things that they're doing. I'm excited to revisit this next year and see what they did. Let me know your favorite things of the year down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I will see you tomorrow for the worst things in Destiny 2 in the year 2023. Love your faces, subscribe to help us on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and have a fantastic day.